We are going to start painting our creative color wheels today. So you should have your paint kit, which has your brushes, a water cup, which you can put water in. Also, you have all of your paints in these little containers. I also sent you home with a palette. And of course, your creative color wheel should be drawn on that final piece of paper. Make sure your name is on the back. And then it is helpful to have your sketchbook out so you can see what colors you were thinking, where you were putting them. It's okay if things change from your sketch to your final painting. This is just kind of a guide. Remember, you have to have the color wheel illustrated somewhere, and that is the 12 colors on the color wheel in order. And so mine are the sprinkles on the donut. And then you also had to have 2 other color schemes. I have monochromatic with my blue violet. I also have complementary with my orange and blue, and then my yellow, orange, blue, violet is complementary. You might have neutrals or a split complementary. There were lots of options. And so I'm just gonna kind of set this up front here so I can reference it when I need to. When you are painting, you want to start with the background and then work your way up to the tiny details. And so I'm going to start with my yellow-orange background. I'll go to my tablecloth, and then I'll start to paint in like my mug and my donut. You want to save your details like the sprinkles, the flower, any of my highlights for the very end. So I have my palette, and I already have black and white on here because you can use tints and shades and tones. So keep that in mind. I'm going to start with my yellow-orange. So I want my yellow. And this is the yellow I have for everything. And so I don't want to mix all of my yellow. I'm going to scoop some of this out onto my palette. And my background's pretty large, so I know I'm going to probably need, feels right. And then when I am not using my paint in my cups, I want to make sure that I close it and seal it really well. If your acrylic paint sits out, it is going to harden, and there is no way to salvage that or save that. It's just going to be wasted paint. So just make sure you're closing your containers when you're not using them. And then I'm going to use my other brush. It's yellow-orange, so I know I'm not going to need a ton of red. I'm just going to put a little bit on here. I can always get more. It's also good to keep your brushes clean when you're not using them and dry. That acrylic paint can ruin your brush if you don't wash it off. All right, let's start mixing. I'm liking it already. Ooh, that's a great yellow-orange. Now I want it to be a tint, so I'm going to pick up some white Right. Okay, I like that. Now I'm gonna work, since I'm right-handed, I like to work from the left over to the right. And I'm just filling in my background first. I forgot to mention, whatever space you are working in at home, you'll want to cover your table or your desk to protect your space. Acrylic paint will stain your clothes. It will stain tables. And so protect whatever space you're working in. And so you're gonna see, I'm using my big brush. I might need to use my smaller one to get into my smaller areas. I'm just gonna go ahead and paint in my background. Okay. I have all of my background yellow orange painted in. I thought I recorded that. I did not. That's okay. It was just me really painting the background. Okay. The last thing I'm gonna paint today is my tablecloth. This is a blue violet, so I mixed a blue violet. I'm looking at my sketchbook, and you can see it's monochromatic, so I have a really light value, so a tint. And I'm going to use either tones or shades in here. And so when I'm painting something with different values, there's a couple ways you could do this, but because of my pattern, I am going to paint my lightest value first. I always like to start with the lightest. And so I took some of that blue violet and I mixed it into some white, so I have a nice tint. Okay, this is as far as we are going today. Just getting those bigger spaces filled in. Now with my donut, I did get a little bit more detailed. I will show you how to do this tomorrow when I fill in the cup. Just painting these things took a little more than an hour and a half. And so painting takes a lot of time. My hand is cramping a little bit just from holding that paintbrush. And so it's okay, and it is good to take a break. So this, you'll want to find a spot in your house for it to dry. On my palette, I still have black that I haven't really used, and I still have my blue violet, more violet color, and a little bit of orange. I want to try to save this. And so what I'm going to do, I emptied my water cup, and then I took a paper towel and I just got it a little damp. It's not soaking with water, but it's a little damp, and I'm gonna set that as close to the middle as I can. I'm going to open up my bag. And I'm gonna slide this in. Now, this water cup's gonna prop that bag up so it won't touch down on the paint that I want to save. And then I'm gonna go ahead and I am going to, I'll tuck my paintbrushes to the side. I don't think my paint is gonna fit in there with my dirty palette. And then I'm gonna seal this really good. Because if you are coming into school tomorrow, you will have to carry this with you. And your paint. If you are still working at home, just find a safe spot away from younger siblings if you have them. Make sure all of your paint is sealed really well. So my paint is ready to be transported tomorrow. I also want my sketchbook. And you are good to go for today.